Alright, we are recording. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Two Scrippers, One Poll. As you can see, I have two of my rotational hosts. Introduce yourself.
My name is Simone, but I go by Mo or Monie.
I'm Juan. Everybody go call me Juan, so we good.
Juan the Solar Geek.
Juan the Solar Geek.
Yes. Alright, so this week's topic is... would you live in a separate household from your spouse? Why or why not? And I came up with this question for two reasons. So I was driving my work car, because I be working, y'all. And on the radio, that was the question, and people were calling in. And the
Restart.
Cut. We good.
Please
but
don't
wrong
die, cousin.
I'm so sorry.
Cut. You know when dude had it.
Why did I close this? I need this. All right. So back to regular scheduled programming. So I heard it on the radio, and I actually heard it for the first time like many years ago, and that was the first time I heard it, and I was like, getting married, living separately, like that's weird. But then I thought about it, and I was like, that's something that I would actually consider for myself. And so I wanted you two to talk about it because I wanted a male perspective. But then also, you were married at one point.
Yes, I was. I was married for 2 years. I got married during the pandeezy because, things happen. Being young and in love, thinking the world's going to end, all that crazy stuff. Hey, look, times is hard. People was dying left and right. And when you in love with somebody, things happen. I personally would not live in a separate household from my spouse. However, separate bedrooms, you should invest in separate spaces because, you don't got to sleep in separate rooms. Y'all could, have beds in each room, but I feel like it's important to have that own space and still be your own person because you can lose yourself in marriage. It's very easy.
I gotta be with my baby. I don't know. Nah, seriously, living apart just don't do it. Cause I'm touchy feely, want to be up under you. I want to cuddle a little bit.
Yeah.
Got a little cuddy buddy, but I couldn't. Not being under, just not apart. Being apart is bad. I don't like that. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Okay.
Unless you're with him.
You feel like you got attachment issues?
No, I just know what I like, and I need you right there. Especially living wise, if we're together and we chose to live together, living apart is just one of those things. It's for what? What's the benefit? Just weighing the pros and cons.
I'm listening, but I low key, I was recording this on my watch, and I don't know if it's still recording, so I'm just making sure. Okay, we're good.
Awesome. One of the perspectives to respond to what you said, one of the perspectives I got on the question, I asked the same question on my story. One person said, I think couples should start off with their own place until they learn how to live together. I can agree with that statement mainly because when I was married, how my ex and I moved in together was very fast. So not being able to see his habits and him not being able to see my habits and having to deal, excuse me. Oh my goodness.
Are you okay?
Okay.
Do I need to call somebody?
But dealing with that and having to learn each other while learning each other's experiences is a lot. I do not advise it for people because it can be very frustrating when you're a certain type of way, you have living habits, another person's a certain type of way. That can cause a lot of stress in the relationship. So learning how your partner lives is very important.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So Tori responded, hey Tori, and she said that she would live separately because she likes her space and she's slightly controlling and would just prefer things her way. So she would do it. I also had another friend who said the same thing, who said, yes, we can be neighbors, but I would want to decorate and keep things the way that she likes them. And mainly everybody else said, no, what the fuck is wrong with you? Mm-hmm. But I had someone else, sorry if I mispronounced your name, I don't know if that's your real name, but that's what it says on Instagram. And he said, I learned living with your spouse can make or break a relationship. Some people don't live with their spouse because of things such as work, and it's always a level of trust you have to have for it to work. But I do think mentally you'll be happy because you have your own space. However, my stance is I think not living with them may keep your relationship happy but not genuine. You find out about yourself and them and the importance of things you value in a relationship. I lived with my child's mother and started realizing things like the time I came in the house mattered, whether I was coming home to a home-cooked meal or not. Even after work, small disagreements became locking the top or bottom lock. I forgot how to read. Things like locking the top or bottom lock matter because the smallest of things like that can get you out of what you're accustomed to, and because you have to compromise. I think if it's a person you're married to or trying to marry, if you live with them, it'll determine if you can really be with them for the rest of your life.
That was well worded.
Yeah.
I would say, at least from my experience, I can agree on the point of like it has to do with a lot of trust and understanding, but also like it does lack that genuine connection, because when you guys go through those disagreements, you're learning so much about the person. Like you're learning how to have a disagreement with someone without becoming violent or without becoming disrespectful.
Yeah.
I feel like people get comfortable, when they're in a relationship or like even, with their families, like saying really hurtful things, but like to a stranger on the street, you wouldn't say those things. It's like, if you love that person, you should be willing to learn to work through those type of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I say being there, like being together and not being apart is better. Because like, if we're living together, all it's going to do is make us both better. Because now I have to find out how to communicate with you effectively. I have to figure out what your love language is and what things I'm doing right now that's not at somebody else's top of the list. So I've gotten better with being in relationships and living with my significant other in different areas that I wouldn't have looked at, like folding clothes, washing dishes, and just knowing how women move, or understanding that things that I was doing that wasn't so productive in a relationship. So I think it's better.
Did I get my opinion?
No.
I feel like you said you might, but
yeah.
So when I first heard it, I'm always in the fucking car when I hear this shit.
You have your best thoughts in the car.
In the shower.
I thought it was weird, just because I had never heard of it, and a lot of people did bring this up, that like marriage is a union, and people were talking about that on the radio. Duh, Kia, that's where you heard it from. People were talking about that on the radio, not just the people that DM'd me. And they were talking about how marriage is a union. You're supposed to become one. So why wouldn't you move together? That's just how it's always been. But then other people were talking about what marriage looks like now, no matter the gender, whatever. Just the idea of marriage now is so much different than what it started out as. And there's so many different ways of how it could look like. And so ultimately, it always comes down to whatever works best for you and your partner. And I like that you brought up love languages, because a lot of people were talking about like their love language is physical touch. They have to be next to that person. They need to feel that person, quality time. But honestly, for me, I don't even want to get married in the first place. But my love languages are physical touch and quality time. Those are like two of the biggest ones. But I've been living on my own for so long now that I enjoy my space. And then when I briefly moved in with, that was a big adjustment for me. And maybe the circumstances would have been different if we had moved in together on different terms. But going from having my own and then moving into a space with someone, I was willing to compromise, but I don't think I would do it again. And also from like a legal business standpoint, I plan on buying a house by the time I get married. Like I have my own, and I just don't want to mesh it. Like, because I don't want to get legally married. I took tax classes, and I feel like getting legally married is a joke. If we get divorced, that married filing separately, So I just, from a legal standpoint, living separately.
2 points I wanted to add to that. So Papa was talking about how he also heard that on the radio, and he was talking about how a woman didn't want to move in with her spouse because she had her house for so long and she had things the way she wanted it, and like she knew that was a thing she needed to keep her happy. And I feel like that's something that should be valued and honored, because it's like, you know, if you love me, you should be willing to understand that this is one of the things I need for myself. Also, on the tax filing standpoint, divorced filing separately, or no, married filing separately is a joke. It's a joke.
It is. It's so bad.
It sucks. It sucks so bad. And the first time I ever filed taxes was after I got married. So, you know, that sets the expectation. And this year, filing taxes, don't do it. Don't do it.
Man, I really feel like that. I don't get it. I don't get
what part don't you get?
Like, just space. Like, when you say, okay, when people, I'm not gonna just say just one side, but when you say I need space, what stops you from having space and being in your relationship? Because, like you said, okay, I like my space and I enjoy my space, but your home is your space. So, like, why do you feel like it's being? Because when people say I like my space, I feel like it's coming from a sense of I had a bad experience with this person, so now I'm reverting back to my space, and I'm like, that's all I wanted, because I've already tried to commingle those things and it didn't work. So now I'm like, I'm never doing that.
So at least for me, when me and my ex were together, we had a small 1-bedroom apartment. So like, I play the game, he plays the game. So it's very.
What you play?
I play Fortnite and Call of Duty. Sometimes I'm not that good. I play Assassin's Creed.
We got our fourth, y'all. Got our fourth.
Things of that nature.
For real. Like, I be calling her and she be with the headset and everything.
We got our fourth.
And so my ex, he played 2K. You know, he's on the game with his friends, and so it can get loud. Also, you know, even though you're in that relationship with that person, I feel like you're still entitled to privacy. Like conversations with my best friend and I get into the real nitty gritty of stuff. She don't want someone knowing her business. And if, like, yes, being in a separate room might be okay, but like if it's a small 1-bedroom apartment, you're still going to potentially end up hearing conversation.
So my rebuttal comes in at, if there wasn't a 2-bedroom, if there's a 2-bedroom apartment, if there is a single family home or a townhouse, 3-level townhouse or something like that, the circumstances are different. So now I'm okay, well, I'm open to it because now I have a space that I can go to.
Okay.
So
I used to, when I first heard that, I was like, I don't know about a house, I would do the separate room thing.
Yeah.
And I have some other friends who are married and said that or just living with a partner in a separate space is important. And maybe my opinion is biased because I moved into a space that was never mine to begin with. It was all his. However, there were multiple bedrooms, and when we did one of the rooms, it was like the office room, but we essentially more or less made that mine because that's where I was for schoolwork and just whatever. But it's still just... But again, my opinion could be clouded because it was never my home to begin with. It was someone else's space I moved into. But I just felt like, in general, I'm very... energetic. I can't think of the word. But I'm around people a lot and I have this outgoing personality, but sometimes I do get tired and I get like my social battery goes down. That's what I'm trying to say. And so knowing me and how I can be, once my social battery is like starting to go down, I don't want to be bothered. I don't care who you are. And it's not intentional, but I start like being short with you and not really wanting to be around. And even though I love being touched, like if I'm just not there right now and you're in my space, I'm just like, bro, what the fuck?
But and that to rebuttal to that, as your spouse, I should be able to understand that and be like, okay, well, I'm gonna leave I'm walking the house. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'll go somewhere, hang out with the guys, or you want to have your girls over, okay, come over, or stuff like that. So that now I feel like I have my own space and I can do and I can say and stuff like that. Oh, you know what? Hey, look, I'm about to run out for a little while. I'll be back later. Or just having that dynamic.
And so, yes, that opinion is valid. I feel like it's easier said than done in those moments because it's hard not to get in your feelings when you want to love on your person and they're not in the mood to be loved on right now. That can sometimes feel like a personal attack when it's not intended to be, because same thing, like you're saying, social battery runs out, like you're touching on me, I don't want to be touched right now, or like sometimes I'm just in the mood to socialize with certain people, and I'm not saying like, oh, I don't want to socialize with my spouse, but like sometimes I just want to talk to my friend. I want to be in this room and hang out with my friends, spend time with them, because I will say, especially being in the pandemic when I got married, like, and my best friend lives in a separate state, so it's like, this is important time for me. When before we were living together and cohabitating, I was at college, so I was able to call her whenever and talk for however many hours like I want to talk for. And that becomes a big thing where it's like, oh, well, your partner may start to feel neglected, or if that's the case. So I feel like there's a balance that has to be made with that. Because if it happens too frequently, then it feels like, oh, well, what's wrong? Am I doing something wrong? And then the person starts, to question if everything's okay in the relationship. I feel like if like separate living spaces or separate rooms are being had, a lot more conversation and communication has to be had, so that you guys can be on the same page and no one's feeling slighted.
So basically what we're saying is there were a lack of conversations being had about what you needed in that moment. And that's how we got to the point of not wanting to be in the same space with our spouse. Is that
kind of?
Is that what it gets summed up to? Like just just communication.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of the time it's communication. It really is. But also not just communication, but comprehension, because you could go back and forth all day. Ooh. My ex and I used to go back and forth all the time about the simplest things, and like, having to have that outside person come and intervene is not always the best thing in your relationship. Luckily, him and my best friend get along, or they got along, so she was able to like mediate whenever we were having a misunderstanding, but not everybody has that. So comprehension is definitely a big part, but also knowing when to leave a conversation alone and come back to it. I had to do a lot of growth, because I'm a person, I say wild things out the mouth when I get mad. That's just how I am. And so working on that, because like if I say I love you the way I do, and I'm married to you, and like, I feel all these things about you, why do I want to say these hurtful things to you? Why do I want to tear you down? But in the heat of arguments, when like I feel like I'm not being heard, it's like, okay, well then fuck you and fuck this conversation. I'm gonna go do whatever the fuck I want to do. And that's not, that you can't do that.
Yeah.
In a marriage. It's just, or just in a relationship period. It's not productive, and it's bad for your relationship, because whenever you say those things, it's like, oh, did you say that because you were mad, or did you say that because that's how you really feel, and you're portraying it under the guise of, oh, I was just mad. Because I personally feel like when people say things when they're mad, they mean a lot of those things, and they've been holding on to it for a long, long time.
For sure.
Perfect timing. You were up. Gotcha.
Oh, that laugh is crazy. You see how big that sound wave is? I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm editing this audio, and if I blow your eardrums,
we love to laugh here.
We do. How was y'all day?
Man.
Late ass.
Man, I've been here since 2.
I was helping the community. And the senior citizens.
Okay, I can't be mad about the Can't be mad about the senior citizens. I had a great day. I spent majority of the day with my lovely cousin here. She's great.
Yo, I did not like her.
Man.
I didn't know. We talk about it all the time.
We do, because
I did not fucking like her.
And you know what?
Outside all the goddamn time.
And I can understand why she didn't like me, because she's the baby of her family. I'm the baby of my family. And when I came over to her house, I was trying to be the baby in her house. I don't want to deal with. I'm the baby. It's me. I'm center of attention. Like, why are you touching my shit? Why are you like? I didn't ask for a younger sibling.
Be in my space. I would put hair spray on, put it down. Next thing I know, she picking it up. Like, she was all the time. I was like, yo, she coming over again? She don't got a house to stay in.
Oh, wow.
And our moms are so close, so it was just like, oh, we're gonna go see Debbie and Kia. I'm like, oh, really?
No.
It's gonna be a fun time. And then like, she has an older brother. I have an older brother, but for the record, I'm an only child. Anyways, I would want to beat up her brother, and she would be upset that...
That's my job. Yeah. I beat up my brother. Like, she's really coming behind me just wanting to do everything. And I'm just like, no. But now as I've gotten older... Because I'm the baby. And my sister grew up separately from us, so I'm sure my brother probably felt that way, that I was up under him, because I was always bothering his friends. But I'm just like, this is my house, and you're always here trying to be with me. No, I don't want it. I want no parts.
Oh, also to add, we have like a 3.5 year age difference, so like, Yeah. But it's okay. We had to do some growing up.
Somewhere in all of this, we became friends. Yes. Look at us now.
There's hope. That's what matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Taking trips and everything. I don't mess with a lot of my cousins, so I'm very happy that I have this relationship with her.
Ditto.
Because the rest of our mama side is just...
Y'all both take... boy... Man.
Well, if you had a came on time, I would you a drink, sir. But it's okay. Helping the community. Mm-hmm. If you need solar panels, hit up your boy, Juan the Solar Geek.
That's why it's the solar. I was going to ask. But...
No, it's fine. It's fine.
When I get my little his house.
Yeah.
My dad just took his solar panels off.
What?
That's a bad decision.
It was
that's like telling the art teacher you don't like art.
No, it was under my stepmother's name. He didn't want to have to deal with it no more. I don't know.
Good idea. Call me. Give me a call. Nah, I want to get back to this because I just don't. I know we kind of like talked about the conversation, but like I talked about the conversation. Had a long day. No, but seriously, like just because I don't really understand how you can be with somebody and you just not want to be with them.
I'm not saying that.
No. You want your space. Like you say, I
think you also need time to miss somebody. Like, I'm not talking about being... I'm not talking about I'm living in Detroit and you living in fucking Cali or some shit. I'm not talking about anything like... But some couples do that. And some people brought that up that it might be because of their work situation. A lot of people said if kids are involved, they absolutely wouldn't do it. And I will understand that. If I had kids with somebody, then yes, we'll be in the same space.
No kids, y'all together, 2 different houses.
I would do that. If my partner wanted to do that. I think, again, it comes down to having conversations, having comprehensive conversations with your partner to make sure that y'all are on the same page. But if both of y'all are just kind of like, and I got all this shit. I live with somebody, what if they got a whole bunch of shit? Then we got a whole bunch of shit in the house. No. You know, in my head, I envision my 4-bedroom house and each room has a purpose. So if I'm getting married, what if you have all those rooms? Now we need a fucking 8-bedroom, 10-bedroom house. And who cleaning that? I'm not.
I would also like to add, I actually lived in a separate space from my spouse for a good couple of months before we got, divorced and everything. And it was definitely interesting. It gives you time, yes, to miss your person, but the circumstances of why we weren't living in the same household weren't because of the best situation. Tip. Make sure you vet your spouse's family before you get all ingrained, because a lot of people might say like, oh, I'm dating them, I'm not dating their family. But no, if you marry them, you're marrying their family.
Yeah.
And if you don't like their family and their family don't like you, that's just a lot of heartache in the end.
Yeah.
But living in separate spaces is definitely interesting. I still would not do it again. I'd do the separate rooms. But separate
rooms, separate beds, like y'all.
So like you could have a bed in your room. I could have a bed in my room. Not saying we have designated days of where we're picking whose room we're sleeping in. But like let's say we end up falling asleep in your bedroom. Okay, cool. If I end up wanting to go sleep in my bed, I feel like that shouldn't offend. But again, that comes with conversation and understanding between a couple.
Yeah, I mean, you just like.
My ex snored like a really bad. Love you dearly, really do. Kisses, but he knows he snores like a jet engine. Everyone knows he snores like a jet engine. And so, but he is like you in the sense that I gotta have my person to sleep. I gotta touch on them so I can sleep, or like just be up under them. So like that was a compromise that had to be had. So like if once he falls asleep, I'm going to the couch, sir. I can't with that all in my ear. But as soon as he like wakes up in the middle of the night, oh baby, please come back. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna comfort you. But that's a part of the compromise. It's like. I'm going to get up as soon as you're asleep in a deep sleep. So I can actually try and get some sleep because you in my ear go out. It's just...
That's insane.
Yeah. Love you again.
I don't even know. Like, I'm just sitting here like, damn. Y'all need to stop snoring. Because it's, dang. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm just... maybe it's just traditional. Like, I think it's very traditional for, like, you just want your spouse to be there. Even if it's, like... If we get into an argument, you're not leaving. Like, not like saying you're not walking out the door, but it's like, come on, let's talk. Like, I'm really big on, I argue like this. Mm-hmm. I don't raise my voice. I don't have the capacity to sit here and give you all of that. Like I'll sit and talk to you, but I'm not about to. Not for real. Like I cannot argue with nobody. Like
I'm really just
I need to get better.
Trying to pretend like there's an arm here and there's not. And I know when I go back and watch this video, it's like
she stay off. Nah, it's just yeah. And I just like, let's talk about it. We don't have to leave out. We don't gotta call your mom. You know, we don't gotta call like your best friends or anybody like that. Like, let's sit and talk about it. Because now we have an understanding of what happened, why it happened, and how we not gonna let this happen again, and how we can work through it. Now. That just laid the groundwork for us to move forward and just keep progressing. Now we need to retouch the conversation, and things are different. We can touch on those things that are changing. So now we say, okay, I just need my little bit of space. These days I'm gonna hang out with so and so. These days leave out the house. I think that's very productive instead of spending more money for more space.
Well, who said that y'all? Because somebody brought that up. Who's paying for 2 houses? Who said y'all was paying for 2 houses? Because at least in my head, we're married. You have your space. I'm paying for my shit. I'm paying for all of mine. I wasn't going to expect you to, but that's also because that's just me. I've never wanted anybody to pay for everything, and I just never expected that. So if it's not, I'm paying for 2 mortgages. Would it be something that you're more open to? Because a lot of people did bring that up.
But I mean, if you're paying for 2, yeah, but you're still essentially paying for 2 mortgages, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, but I'm saying like a lot of the people addressed it as if you're okay with it, then what's it? At the end of the day, all of this goes back to you need to know your partner. People brought up trust and stuff. If you don't trust the person, you shouldn't be getting married in the first place. Like, please, if there's anything that you take from this. Listen to yourself. If you listen to your gut feelings, if something's not right, it's probably not right. You probably would. Although some of y'all be delusional, but I'm guilty at times. But no, like if trust is a thing that's making you like, if you feel you can't live separately from your partner because you don't know what they're going to be doing in their house, you don't need to be with that person.
Bar.
Take marriage out of the fact. If you feel like any type of separation from your partner is going to hinder the relationship, and you don't know what they're going to be doing, who they're going to be talking to, you do not need to be with that person.
Your relationship is not strong. Your relationship got weak knees and ankles. I'm sorry.
Weak in the knees.
Cause like
stand up.
No, really. Cause I'm sorry, trust has to be everything, and I know people have trust issues and everything, but if this is the person you're marrying, I feel like trust issues should not even be a factor. If this is like, if you're going through the proper vetting, I know some people rush into things, but
I mean, listen, I watch a lot of shit. Like, I don't know how I got into serial killers, but I'm telling you, they be a whole different person. You also don't know, so that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But people,
by the time you don't get to the point of like, say, I'm living with you or I'm moving in with you. You've probably been to that person's house. You probably met that person's mom or been to that family house or some type of events or something with them, so you can see like, they
people be having.
I really wish that could be true. I really wish that could be true.
People be having whole separate lives, like whole ass families, whole ass like generations of kids.
She said generations.
No, for real. And then they show up at the funeral like, who the fuck is you? Who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Because I've dealt with people where it's like, everything's great. It's great. Once you make it out of that honeymoon phase, and after that 6-month mark, hopefully they start showing who they really are if they haven't already.
Associate.
But if you
what? No, for real. They just showing you their representative.
They really are showing you the representative, because once y'all have that first real argument, see how they act when they mad. If they start punching shit, get the fuck. If they start bringing up your past trauma and throwing it in your face, get the fuck. If
they say something that you acknowledge to them is hurtful and they just brush it off, get the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Your feelings are always valid, and do not let anybody tell you that they are not. If you muster up the courage to tell somebody what you said or did made me feel this type of way, and they just like butt or just disregard, exit.
Yeah, because they gonna manipulate you. They gonna use your feelings against you all the time. Or you're never going to be able to say your point because they're always going to make it into an argument. They're always going to play so I'm just a terrible partner. I don't do this. I don't do that. They generalize everything to try to negate your point and make you feel like you're crazy. You know what that is? Gaslighting. Don't fall for it.
So what do y'all like about living with your significant other?
Oh, well, there's so many joys. I promise there are.
Because we done heard all the bad.
Really, like waking up to your person. There really is nothing like it. Especially if you like just. I'm a cuddler. I like to rub. I like to touch.
Big
I like
spoon,
to
little
kiss.
spoon.
Both. I'm a tall girl.
BOAF.
I'm 5'10".
Both of them.
I'm 5'10" and I usually attract short men. Apparently my type is short, skinny men. That's not what I proclaim my type to be. But if I go back through my track record, they're either a little bit taller than me, my height, but most of them are shorter than me and skinny. We look like the number 10, but it's cute. It's a cute 10. I promise.
Quick. We gotta wrap it up in like 4 minutes. Because this the mini, so it's supposed to be short. Even though this is getting good. But you gotta go to work. This nigga was late. Well, we can do a full episode, and then you can just go when you need to go, and we'll just continue.
All right. But yes, waking up to your partner is my favorite.
So if you had to wrap up everything in like one or two sentences, what would you say?
If it's anything that you do not like, fuck them.
Okay.
If they do anything that you don't like, and I don't even want to leave off with that. I think if I leave off with anything I think you should really just effectively communicate with your partner, no matter how good or bad it is. It's no matter how bad it is, however you think they're gonna take it.
Yes, and I think to piggyback off of that, it's easier said than done to try to communicate, but also you and your partner should know each other and know that certain things are not coming from a malicious space. But that's also not to say you have to be mindful of how you say something as well, because intent versus impact is a serious thing. And so you might not mean it a certain way, but it can impact that person a certain way, maybe because of other factors of how you said it, when you said it.
How about what you said? It's how you said it.
I agree. I guess the last thing I would say is pick your partner carefully and take your time. There's nothing wrong with taking your time. Yeah. Your time is valuable.
Yes. And if you want to live together, great. If you don't, let people be who they want to be and let them live separately, because you're not paying their bills. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.